Hey, what is up guys, and welcome to an in-depth breakdown of the most recent cinematic trailer for Cyberpunk 2077, as well as a little bonus thrown in at the end, where we'll go over the small amount of gameplay that was shown, teasing the bigger demo we probably won't get to see until sometime this August. And jumping right into it, we'll kick things off with the AI taxi that V, our main protagonist, pulls up in. Judging by the checkered markings on the side, this looks like it could be an updated version, or at least a part of the same company, as the yellow combat cab that made an appearance in the E3 trailer, which was basically an armored taxi that would take people into the combat zone. As V exits the vehicle, the pistol he tucks into his pants is a Federated Arms Vindicator, the same gun we saw female V using in last year's gameplay demo. And the demon logo and typography on the back of V's jacket refers to the band Samurai, which is led by none other than Johnny Silverhand, who we'll see towards the end of the cinematic. The building that V's meeting takes place in is called the No-Tell Motel, and just like the Raven Hotel in Altered Carbon, it's run entirely by AI, making it a hotspot for some of the shadier deals in Night City. Later on in the trailer, we can also see that this same motel is located in Watson, one of Night City's 8 districts, and the same area last year's big gameplay demo took place. After entering the motel, you may have noticed that the tough-looking dude who stops V at the door was also in that demo, and if you have a really good memory, you may even remember that he was briefly shown off getting jumped by what looked to be a couple of scavengers in the original E3 trailer as well. The augment hooked into the back of his head and spine is a piece of Neuroware that acts as a reflex booster, which we'll get to see in action later on. Making our way past him, we finally run into Dexter Desean, the intriguing fixer from the 2018 demo. And for those unfamiliar with the pen and paper RPG, fixers are essentially people who supply street jobs and information within Night City. Very similar to the radio in the Fallout series, if you listen closely to the news report here, you also get a chance to hear one of the many ways in which your actions as a player could potentially have a real impact around Night City.
Be my man.
It's also here that we get a closer look at what the main story in Cyberpunk is all about. A one-of-a-kind implant that's supposedly the key to immortality. While we still know very little about the chip, to me it already seems like it could be the main reason behind why V sees Johnny Silverhand near the end of this trailer. Towards the back of the room is Dexter's netrunner T-Bug, the same girl who helped us out with the scavengers during the gameplay demo last year, and remotely fried an Arasaka employee's brains during the E3 trailer. If you look closely, you'll notice the device she's working on used to belong to the Trauma team, which says a lot considering they're one of the more badass groups in Night City. Entering the bathroom, if we zoom into some of the accessories on V's jacket, we can dig into some of the lore that surrounds them. The patch on his left arm that says Pacifica Welcome to Paradise, for example, is referring to the Pacifica District, aka the Combat Zone. Back in the day, the area was built up to be a sort of tourist hotspot, but it ultimately failed and fell into ruin due to an economic crisis. Now it's a lawless zone run by booster gangs. On the front of V's jacket, we catch a glimpse of a metal pin that says Night City Heat, with a mushroom cloud in the background. This is a reference to the nuke that went off during the Fourth Corporate War in the tabletop RPG. And to the left of that is a bit of green text that spells out Crystal Jock, referring to a class of old-school hackers from the pen and paper game that would hardwire themselves into their targets rather than working through the net. Following the mirror scene, the trailer takes us on a little trip back in time to show V and his partner Jackie stealing the special chip from a group of Corpo agents somewhere near what looks to be the city center. It's during this segment that we lose our friend Jackie to a gunshot wound, and learn just how unforgiving the world of Cyberpunk is going to be with regards to our choices. Thankfully, as mentioned earlier, this should most likely be just one of several different ways that this deal can play out, so perhaps in the final release, there will be an option to help keep our old pal alive. It's in this moment we also get to learn a bit more about the armored cab V's been riding around in. So far, we know that it's a part of a bulletproof line of taxis that are all run by an AI named Delamain, the same guy we see on the monitor who diagnoses Jackie's condition. The cabs themselves operate as a sort of protection service within Night City that you can call in for when things get really messy. After leaving the motel bathroom, we're quickly hit with the fact, both literally and figuratively, that no one in Night City is to be trusted, as we see Dexter, a guy who was our ticket to the top, showing no problem taking us out of the picture when things go south. During the altercation, V is able to unleash his Mantis Blades, a cybernetic weapon implant unique to 2077 that's been shown off in both the 2018 gameplay demo, as well as the original cinematic trailer from 6 years ago. Obviously well trained and well equipped, however, Dexter's bodyguard manages to subdue V, and we get a look at another cybernetic enhancement known as Gorilla Arms, which he uses to choke V out with. Fortunately, with a bit of help from our recently deceased friend, V is able to break free and cut the bodyguard limb from limb in gruesome fashion, allowing us to see T-Bug and her Netrunner abilities in action, as she hacks into our cyberware, causing the Mantis blades to retract until V eventually guns her down. Following that, we witness Dexter hastily grab a weapon of his own, which looks as though it could potentially be an updated version of the Federated Arms Super Chief, a heavy revolver from the Black Hand Street Weapons sourcebook. And that's seemingly where the trailer ends, as the screen cuts to black in a hailstorm of bullets, until V's systems finally reboot thanks to the special implant still in his neck. In the upper right corner of the screen is some kind of air vehicle in the sky with an advert made by Kuroshi Optics, the same company who created the optical scanner that V purchased from a Ripper dock in the gameplay demo. And as we eventually come to, that's when we see the legend himself, Johnny Silverhand, one of the most famous rocker boys of the future, or at least he was before he met his untimely end. If you watch closely, you can actually see Johnny glitch in and out for a second. This is because we aren't looking at him so much as we are his digital ghost, which appears to have been uploaded to the Chip of Immortality. For those who aren't familiar with what happened to him, in the book Firestorm, Johnny ended up joining Militech during the Fourth Corporate War, in a vengeful attempt to save his girlfriend Alt Cunningham, who was a skilled netrunner that ended up getting wiped out by Arasaka, a still existing megacorporation who used an upgraded version of her own program called Soul Killer, which would create a digital copy of a netrunner's mind and upload it to the net. In the process of trying to save her, Johnny and his team were ambushed by a cyborg named Atom Smasher, and Silverhand was essentially cut in half by his auto shotgun. After a nuke went off destroying Arasaka Tower, the building he was in, the rocker boy was presumed dead. However, Mike Pondsmith, the creator of Cyberpunk, has stated that no one ever stopped to look at Johnny's body, hinting that there's a chance he made it out and was uploaded to the net like his girlfriend, hence why we're seeing him here. And that leads us to the small bit of gameplay that was shown at the very end, which gives us a look at what's in store for us once we're finally able to see this year's full gameplay demo. In the first shot, what we're seeing here are the ruins of Pacifica, the combat zone that we discussed earlier. Following the transition, we see Male V checking himself out in the mirror after doing a bit of shopping, with our new partner Johnny Silverhand waiting off in the corner. And judging by the contents of the background shown in the mirror, it appears the shop is located in or just outside the zone. Panning out, we see a small chapel on the left, which just so happens to be one of the meeting spots for the Voodoo Boys, a booster gang that operates within Pacifica that features a heavy amount of spiritual and magic overtones. And after a brief jump in time, it finally cuts to a sort of makeshift shopping mall, where we meet Placide, one of the Voodoo Boys' higher-ups. And again, in the background we get another shot of Silverhand doing his thing. Continuing on, we get an awesome bit of hacking gameplay, where V taps into a sparring bot and overrides its safeguards so that it knocks out an enemy belonging to the Animals, another gang that operates inside the combat zone. In terms of enhancing themselves physically, it's said that the Animals tend to rely on using drugs rather than cybernetics. A few shots later, V begins taking on another one of the Animals with what looks to be a Kondachi Mono Whip, another weapon from the Black Hand Street Weapons sourcebook. And last but certainly not least, we meet Bridget, a skilled netrunner and leader of the Voodoo Boys, who gives us our first look at cyberspace, a dark and dangerous digital landscape from the past that requires the help of multiple netrunners to reach and watch your back while inside. Before I saw this, I had originally planned on playing a solo type role, because that's the class my character Jack Mercer was in the pen and paper RPG. But after finally getting a better look at netrunning in this game, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't second guessing myself now. Overall, Cyberpunk 2077 continues to blow my expectations out of the water. April 15th honestly cannot come soon enough. I know we've got at least one more big gameplay demo to look forward to before that though, so if you guys would like to see me do another video like this when that comes out, I'd be more than happy to. But anyways guys, that's gonna do it for today, so thanks for watching, hopefully you enjoyed the video, and as always, I will see you in the next one.